I mean, there's that movie. I think it's called. Is it called Lucy or something?
Yeah, I never watched it though. You watch it?
That movie. Yeah, that movie talks directly about that, where like we're only using like a very small percentage of our brain power, like maybe like less than 10%, and we're if we're able to use 100%, we'll do like some crazy things, like be able to move objects with our minds and everything, and they're talking about like how Einstein like activated like a more percentage of his brain power than the average person, and that's why he was like a genius.
Yeah.
But I do believe that we're not activating our full potential of our brain power. I don't know the percentage wise, but I think that through the teachings of what we were born and raised into, it's like they're kind of keeping us at a lower level of brain development than we're capable of, because that's how we're more easily controlled. I think that there's certain people that have a lot of power and money and in this world that are kind of controlling almost like the secret knowledge to basically develop like higher levels of brain power, but they kind of keep that information away from the people because they want to maintain control of the people, and even I mean you could use examples even to this day, and you could see it happening before your eyes, and you could see the proof of it. So it's like, just like the CIA, it's like they're doing all this stuff, but you don't know the stuff what they're doing. They're keeping that stuff like away from you. Like they'll have technologies where they're not going to share those technologies with you. They're going to keep those technologies for themselves. I mean, even the police departments have access to technologies that we're not allowed to have access to. Do you know what I'm saying? The government they get to work on the scientific discoveries of like, nuclear weapons and atom bombs and all this stuff, but the regular person in this world is not allowed to have access to that information. Okay? Even like how to make a bomb, like we're not allowed to learn how to do that. Like there's a lot of things where basically this is basically what happens. There's scientists like Albert Einstein that are super smart, that come with these amazing discoveries that nobody knows about. But then in order to fund the research, they need money. So they usually get that money from the government, and then the government controls like their discoveries. So once they discover something, the government controls that discovery and be like, okay, we're not going to tell the people about this. We're going to keep this for ourselves. So then we're gonna keep the people where they're at while we like prosper from these discoveries. So this does not just happen on a scientific level dealing with like weapons, but it also happens like on a level that deals with the spirit, like as far as meditation is concerned. So basically Osho is an example of somebody who's like a master of meditation, and then he like shares those teachings to the public, but because he's sharing it to the public, he became like an enemy for all governments all over the world, because they don't these governments all over the world, they don't want the regular people to have access to this type of like secret power of meditation, because then it kind of destroys their whole scheme of like controlling people through like ego and like through like basically mind manipulation and mind control through like mass media. But if you meditate and then you stop like exposing yourself to all this like nonsense as far as like the stuff that's out there in the media, then you kind of get freed from this mind control, and you become like your own individual, and you become much more powerful. And because you become more powerful, you become a threat. And because you could become a threat, then they will threaten to take your life away. So like certain people like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr., like you could see the power in them through like the transformation of their mind and spirit that took them to a high level of expression, but then they became so dangerous because of their following that they end up getting assassinated. You know, even somebody like Tupac, at the age of 25, he was very intelligent for his age. You know, and because he had such a huge influence over the people through his art, he became a threat. So he had to die. You know, so it's like...
Also, someone like Michael Jackson, I think he was a threat too, because he was more than... He was an intelligent guy. Like, he even mentioned himself, like, you know, the history that you're learning in school, these guys are lying to you, you know? They're not really telling you the truth. Like, even you like his music to do that, you know?
I mean, I don't know much about him, you know, but I know I've heard like a lot of things about Bob Marley too, where he, you know, would try to put more intelligence through his music and spirit, you know.
Oh yeah. I listened to some of his songs. They're dope though.
I mean, but it's like even Socrates. I mean, it's all over the history books that he he was teaching truth and, you know, to the people, and then all of a sudden the people in power, they're like, you know, you gotta stop this. You're corrupting the people's minds, and then they end up like killing him. They poisoned him.
Oh yeah.
So it's like this is all recorded in history. Like you see the assassinations, you see the history of what's going on, and then you see it's obvious that it's right before your eyes that the closer you get to truth, the more danger that your life is at risk. Because the truth that you know becomes a threat to the foundation of what this society is built upon. You know, so like they're obviously not there to give you the truth. They're there to kind of like divert you from the truth through manipulating your mind through this media to be further entrapped and enslaved to this ego, and then you just almost get like hypnotized. Like you're almost like just you're stuck. You're like unconscious. You're not like fully human. You're not truly free. You're a slave with the misconception that you're free, and you don't even know that you're a slave. So that, you know, that's their main thing. And to build this power, this brain power, because it's not supported by the society, it's going to take a lot of hard work on your own individual level, and like you're not going to be able to build it that quickly. Like it's just going to be like a small percentage that you're going to increase your brain power, because you're not being supported by the culture. But that effort that you do put, even that little change still makes a huge difference though. But you'll never get like to 100%. You'll never even get to like Albert Einstein's level of brain power. But say if everybody's brain power is at 3% or whatever percent it is, then you might be able to get to like 4% or 5%. But it's never going to go beyond like that. Like anything like supernatural. But I mean you'll still get way further beyond than just the average person. You know.
Yeah, I think it's just start with like you said, you know, stop watching nonsense TV. Because somebody somebody on YouTube said, you know, they call it television because it tells lies to your vision.
Yeah.
You know, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I mean, even in the animated series, like, I think I talked to you about the Dragon Ball Z before, but I don't remember the video. But basically, you know the main characters?
Yeah.